This week on Movies Baby, the 2025 box office resurgence hit a new high point this weekend with the biggest Memorial Day weekend ever. That's right. The hits keep on coming this year, baby. Hollywood has never seen a Memorial Day weekend quite like this, and it's all thanks to that little rascal Stitch and that old salty dog Tom Cruise. Carson, show me the money. And by money, I mean the weekend box office returns. This one being a long weekend.
Whoa.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
So number one here I'm seeing, Brett, is Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch.
Made $183 million this
domestic.
weekend. Domestic.
And it added another 159 internationally for a grand total opening weekend, Joe, of $341 million on a very reasonable budget of $100 million. Because you'll remember part of the Snow White debacle is that thing cost like over $200 with all the reshoots and everything. They just came back with Lilo and Stitch, $100 million budget, and it's already made $341 opening weekend. It will be the first American billion-dollar movie of the year. Count on it. And it's going to be, it might end up being the biggest movie of the year. American. It's not going to catch Neja 2, of course, the Chinese movie that made over $2 billion and counting. But it's on its way to being the biggest American movie of the year. We still got Superman, Jurassic Park, etc., but I don't know if they catch this train, baby. This train is off and running, and it ain't about to slow down anytime soon. Now, I want to give you some context, Joe, because the previous Memorial Day weekend record was 2013 when Fast and Furious 6 and The Hangover 3 drove a $314 million box office total. Remember that number. And then the individual record for a movie was Top Gun Maverick, which did $160 million in 2022. Both of those records got smashed this weekend. Lilo and Stitch is now the biggest Memorial Day opening ever for an individual movie with those numbers that I just recited to you. And then in total, all the movies out this weekend did $325 million domestic. So that's the biggest Memorial Day weekend ever. And it wasn't just Stitch. Stitch didn't get there on its own. We also had the new Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning sort of holding around projections at $77 million. And then added
that beautiful second week for the third winner
yes,
here.
Dude.
Final Destination Bloodlines piling on an additional $25 million domestic in its second week. That's huge, Brett. If it opened week one with $25 million, Warner Brothers would have been psyched.
Like, okay. Yeah. And that's like a 60% something drop, and it's still at $24.5 million. That's amazing for what is a sort of mid-budget.
It's almost at $100 million. It's Final Fantasy VII or Final Destination 7.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Thunderbolts in week 4 is in the 4 slot with $173 million domestic cum so far. Yeah. Now it's not looking nearly as impressive, is it, next to that Lilo and Stitch? Thunderbolts, we both said it's a good return, and we were happy for Marvel, but really, honestly, pales in comparison to how freaking thrilled Disney must be about this Lilo and Stitch re-release, this live action thing. Yes. But Brett, I am
they really swept Snow White under the rug quick.
Yeah, right. I know. Why
they're back.
Yeah, okay.
They're back.
Disney's doing so good. Yeah. Disney Plus is doing tremendous. ESPN's getting figured out, and Lilo and Stitch and their box office and Marvel's getting figured out. It's just so great. But Brett, I'm worried about these live action releases. This feels like the end of the line. They're running out of movies, is what I'm saying. Yes. That's a different problem. I know they got Tangled. They got all that.
They put Tangled on hold, but now I'm thinking with the success of Lilo and Stitch, they probably put it back into production. But I mean, Tangled ain't got that Lilo and Stitch magic. I mean, Lilo and Stitch.
I mean, they'll do Frozen one day. Yeah, and then that'll do.
That's it. That's it. Because Lilo and Stitch was one of the last in the vault to that hadn't got the live action treatment, that had the juice to really go the distance. Frozen is the other one.
Frozen's the other one. Lilo and Stitch numbers.
Don't do Tangled. Do fucking Frozen.
Yeah.
Do fucking
Seems like
Frozen.
a no-brainer.
Yes. Oh, and the songs. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And also like, keep the casting. I want Idina Menzel in this fucking movie.
Well, they're not going to won't happen. But I love that.
You imagine Idina doing fucking Let It Go? Come on.
And can I say one last thing about the box office numbers here, Brett?
Yes.
I want to say a big congrats to My Little Movie That Could. Friendship with $5.7 million for its
wide release.
Wide release on only 1,000 screens.
Yeah, not like super wide release.
Only 1,000 screens, but it's wide release from A24. It's comedy, and in its third week, first of wide, 5.7, almost $6 million domestic, bringing it up to $8.3 million.
Yep.
I just want to say, I know that 5.7 isn't lighting the world on fire, but actually in 1,000 screens, per screen average $5,400. That's awesome. That trends incredibly well. This movie's is going to be by next week over to the $10 million mark. It's a small indie comedy.
Yeah. It doesn't even have a posted budget, which means the budget's probably like $5 million. Yeah.
I'm just like, this is such good news for me and you and people that love comedy movies. That's the whole point. The whole point is I want comedy back in the movie theaters.
Joe, I want to say, because I was a little harsh on Friendship when we reviewed it. I think I gave it 2.5 stars. But I also like,
no, you liked it.
I'm rooting for it hard, and I want more movies from that team. I went I saw it again last night with Amy, because Amy, my wife, hadn't seen it yet.
You did?
Yeah. And I'm gonna bump my review up to 3. It was
respect.
It was because you know what it was I still had overall the same feeling that it was very funny, but just didn't really come together as a movie satisfyingly enough for me. I had that same feeling, but I was more focused on the funny part than like the movie not coming together on the second viewing. I think
it's just so funny.
It's just so funny.
All
the hype was gone. I was just enjoying the jokes, and it was just so funny. So I don't think not a great movie for me, but I think I'm gonna go 3 stars. Good. And
if you're on the fence, just so you know, I thought it was a gem. I gave it 4.5 stars. Yes. I thought this movie was fantastic.
And predicted that it'll age very well, which I think is a good prediction.
People will be quoting it like they do a Will Ferrell movie.
I actually think it's gonna age terribly. I think it's gonna be like a Terry Southern movie. You know, when you watch like Terry Southern movies on Criterion, and you're like, this hippie nonsense.
You're wrong, silly. That's so silly. This is gonna age lovely. This is gonna be a gem. It's gonna be like an early Albert Brooks.
I don't know. All right, mark it. You heard 2. We have two prophecies for the future of Friendship.
Anyway, exciting week at the box office. Congrats to all the winners except The Weeknd, the artist The Weeknd, whose Hurry Up Tomorrow is just an ugly
God.
Anyway, Brett. Oh, sorry, it's your
well, I just want the last thing I want to say is what you've been pointing out, which is that yes, Lilo and Stitch, carried the majority of the money this weekend, but this was a team effort to get to have the biggest Memorial Day weekend ever. This was a real team effort, and it was the snowball effect. I mean, we didn't even mention Sinners still in double figures after what are we in 5th or 6th weekend? And you know what? I was at a kid's birthday party yesterday with my son Sandy, and a lot of the parents were talking movies. And multiple people were like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go see Sinners this weekend. I still haven't seen it. And I was like, of course. This is the snowball effect of, like, you can't just have one movie hit. You need week after week after week these movies hitting, because then when you get to, like, a holiday weekend like this, everyone's catching up on the things they haven't seen. And that's what we're seeing with Sinners, Thunderbolts, Final Destination here, in addition to the big tentpoles, Mission Impossible and Lilo and Stitch. This is how you get Hollywood back on track. This is how you save the box office, is not just relying on Disney to come save the day, but Disney does what Disney does, and you have all these other movies hitting, surprise hits, sleeper hits that just sort of compound, snowball. That's how you get a $325 million Memorial Day weekend. So congrats to everybody on this list, from A24 to Disney to Warner Brothers.
It's not just because they put them out. Bloodlines and Thunderbolts and Sinners and Friendship are good.
Yeah. Yes.
They're good movies.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Like, you make good movies, people will turn up. Don't forget that part.